My name's...
Very good morning.
Yeah, unless you have a peanut allergy, I'm very sorry. They fry in peanut oil, so if anyone didn't know that has peanut allergy, I'm sorry. Thank you so much for your time this morning. I know a lot of y'all are getting off night shift, want to go home. My name's Warren Large. I'm with Steris IMS. We do the on-location instrument repairs here. And recently, y'all had purchased two Steris Borescope unit from us. So I'm here to kind of provide some education on how to utilize this in your day-to-day. Overall, I just want to say pretty simple procedure. It's essentially a scope for your scope or a scope for your other assets, arthroscopic shavers.
Come all the way back. Sorry.
You're good. Other cannulas. Right now we're trying to get this plugged into a wall, so I guess lesson number one.
We got to be close to a wall.
Power source. So we'll go ahead and kick things off. Right now it's plugged in.
It's really short. Sorry, guys.
You're-
You gotta push the back again.
You're good, Shirley. You're doing the Lord's work. I appreciate you. I guess before I do jump into anything, does anybody have any quick questions that they absolutely have to have answered, want to have answered? Anything that y'all want to know about the Borescope before I jump in? Okay, cool, awesome. If any of those questions do pop up and you're clarifying answers, do let me know. So essentially, Borescope is broken down into a couple units. You have the tabletop stand here. You have the monitor. I will say this monitor, even though it works fine, you can plug your HDMI in, you can see everything you can see. If you don't want to use this monitor, if you have one of these beautiful TVs or something set up wherever you're using this workstation, it's HDMI compatible, so you can plug it into any monitor, any source that can receive HDMI. This is the CCU, so this white box here is the camera control unit. That is essentially the brain of the operation. It also has all your controls, so that's what allows you to take pictures, control white balance, increase brightness, decrease brightness. And then this unit itself, starting with this white piece here, and then the insertion tube here that's wrapped around the base, that's called the inspection unit. Some people like to think of it as kind of like a light source or a processor with the CCU, and then like a flexible endoscope almost with the Borescope itself. I'll walk through a couple of the functions on the CCU. On the very left, you have a camera button, so when it's powered on, just click it once, snaps a photo. The second one, you have the video button. So snap it once, it starts recording, snap it again, it stops recording. We don't have it here, but on the back, there is a USB slot. You can use any USB, but it does need to be formatted before pictures will save correctly. If you plug it in and it automatically detects that it is formatted properly, it won't say anything, but if it notices that the USB needs to be formatted properly, it will give a pop-up. You'll just hit the white balance button. It'll say, do you want to format your USB? You press yes, you're good to go. So just a heads up, if you don't have a USB plugged into this thing and you're hitting photos and videos, there's nothing for it to save to. Some folks will also just use a smartphone and will capture pictures on the monitor itself.
Alright, it's a pen drive in there.
What's that, sorry?
The first draw. It's a pen drive in there for that picture, so just in case we need it.
Okay, I'm sorry, I can't
It's
hear
a
you.
pen drive, pen drive.
Oh, and where is that?
The first drawer.
First drawer, okay. Okay, and I don't think I'll need it, but I will. Oh, there you go. With the lovely Steris branding. I'll go ahead and plug this in just for the sake of having it plugged in. You do not have to use the Steris one, so if y'all want to have multiple, that's fine. Just make sure to format it before it's trying to save to it. I'll go ahead and get this powered on and go ahead and walk through. So actually we have the initial power on, so it's in that standby mode with the orange light. As y'all can see, it's switched to green now, and this should power up the unit if everything's plugged in. And then additionally, we'll want to power the monitor on as well. As long as everything has power and works correctly, we should get an initial image. So looks like we see the side of my thing here. Trying to think. Okay, so camera, video, camera to save pictures, video to record video. This next button here is a white balance button. By default, these are already white balanced and calibrated. But if you notice that the white balance seems off, whites don't seem to be whites, your colors seem to be a little bit askew, you'll just aim the Borescope unit at a white piece of paper about 1 centimeter away, press the white balance button, that'll read white balance for you. Calibration button, it's calibrated from the factory by default, but if you notice any like streaking or the image just doesn't look right, cover it up with your hand, remove all light, as much light as possible, press the calibration button. It essentially tells the scope what black looks like, what the absence of light looks like, and will correct your image. If you white balance and calibrate properly and the image still doesn't look right, that's when you call me. Let me know. We'll get it sent in for warranty evaluation. That should not happen often, but if something like that does happen, call me. We'll troubleshoot. If we can't figure out troubleshooting, we'll get it sent in for warranty. Last two buttons are brightness. You have decreased brightness and increased brightness. It does automatically adjust the brightness on its own, but the decreased brightness and increased brightness buttons essentially adjust the strength of, or kind of suggest how bright it needs to be within that auto adjust feature. If you don't like the auto adjust feature, if you want to do it completely manual, just press both buttons at the same time. That'll switch it to a manual mode. Then you can press increase to increase the brightness, decrease it, decrease the brightness, and it won't shift the brightness on you. So if you really like this, I want it how I want it, you can press both buttons, put it into a manual mode. Another thing that goes without saying, even though it is durable and it is a quality product, it is a very small scope, very delicate. Structures inside the scope, that means it can damage easily. So similar to any other scope, try to avoid over bending it or over emulating it. Never try to put it into like a 90-degree angle because I guess the stuff in there will break easily. Try to keep it, you can keep it bent, but try to keep it spread out loosely, similar to if you had a scope in a tray. Additionally, if you ever are using it to inspect a cannula, if you run into any resistance, it feels like it's not wanting to go forward, back out and try again. Never try to push through any resistance, because that can also cause the tip to break. We have a couple instruments here. Personally, for all the demos I use colonoscope, but this can be used for a variety of instruments. You just want to make sure that whatever instrument you're inspecting, the inner diameter of that cannula, the inner diameter of whatever you're inspecting, is larger than the outer diameter of the inspection unit. So I could be wrong, but I checked this morning, and unless my memory's failed me by now, I believe this is a 1.9 millimeter by 1.9 meter by 1.6 millimeter size unit. So that means the outer diameter of this is 1.6 millimeters. So if you're unsure if it's going to work or not, a lot of times you can just pull up the IFU for whatever you're inspecting, manufacturer's instructions for use, check that inner diameter and see what that measurement is. If it is smaller than 1.6, and you have devices that need to be inspected that have an inner diameter that are smaller than 1.6 meters, we do have a smaller option. It's a 1.05 millimeters. So that is something that we can discuss, we can support with. You don't have to buy a whole complete setup, but just the inspection unit itself. There's a smaller size one that can be swapped out. There's multiple options there, but just something that we want to bring out. Alicia, I know you set out a couple instruments. I don't know if you had a preference on what ones.
Whatever you want to do. The scope I brought you was a 2.2. I brought that size because I wanted to show that even those smaller scopes that we use, we can still look in those.
Yes, yes. We can, and the reason why we have the 1.9 is just because it can inspect, like a colonoscope, for instance, an adult colonoscope can inspect that entire cannula in one pass.
Mm-hmm.
So, I'll go ahead and bust this out. So we're just, feels wrong to kind of open it.
You can open it, go ahead.
Okay, awesome. And then I'll go ahead and get into this. And once again, it's pretty straightforward. I mean, and I will say, we do have the IFU. That's a great resource as well. If you ever need a refresher, you're not sure if you have a question, it's almost all answered in the IFU. Susan Beadle was on her last training. She had a question. I said I didn't know, and I reach out to like a leadership, whatever, to find out. And then I went back through the IFU, and the answer was there.
That's right there.
So that answer was actually a really good point. Cleaning, so whenever you're done, everything but the inspection unit, which is this unit here with the actual insertion tube, it's just cleaned just with an alcohol wipe. Any alcohol wipes that y'all have will work just fine. And then so you just wipe down the surface of everything, and then the inspection unit itself, you'll wipe down that with a soft cloth initially to remove any gross soil. and then we'll want to use some type of enzymatic cleaner like Prolistica. There's a couple others mentioned in the IFU, but just about any enzymatic cleaner will work. Susan's question was soak time. You actually refer to the enzymatic cleaners IFU for recommended soak times. You'd soak this just like any other asset that you would use an enzymatic cleaner on and want to soak it with. One thing I do want to note is right here, there is a soak cap where this plugs into, where the inspection unit does plug into the camera control unit. Make sure to put that soak cap on before soaking it. Goes without saying, but just a heads up there. All right, so I'll go ahead and get this unit pulled out, and we'll go ahead and kick things off. And I'm just going to be extra careful. You don't have to be as delicate with it as I am, but considering this doesn't belong to me, I'm going to be careful.
Do you just told us to break it?
So
you can sell
yeah,
it.
you have it on record too. You know, Warren Large, he told us to break it. We need 2 more for free. I'm just messing. And all in all, I'm being hyper delicate with it, but essentially, as long as you avoid those 90-degree angles, you'll be fine when using this. So it's going to be hard to see because I don't know if y'all know this. My last name is Large, and I take up a lot of space. I'll try to keep my body out of y'all's way, and I'm just going to go in here, and essentially I just want to feed this through, gently avoid any 90-degree angles, and if I encounter resistance, to back out. But I should start working my way down this cannula. And you can actually see exactly what we're looking at on screen. This is great because it helps you identify any potential kinks or dents
This one
or
is straight from the cabinet upstairs, so I hope it's clean.
any cuts, any bioburden, God forbid. And I will say, whenever you're first getting used to this, it can be kind of hard to know what to look for.
Yeah, what is that? What is the white spot in the center?
So I think that is nothing on the scope.
I think it's on the camera.
I think it's on the camera, so it could be a little speck of dust or something like that. I'm not 100% sure. Additionally, it goes without saying, after inspecting anything, it does need to be reprocessed. So that speck, for instance, kind of tells that story. I will say, as you're passing it through the scope, I guess a good rule of thumb is to kind of get used to what normal looks like in the scope. It's like just blue, 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 and then look for a change. If you notice a change, it's kind of intuitive. I don't know about that. It doesn't seem like I should be there. Additionally, we do have a guide. I requested for some of those to be sent in. It's a laminated guide. You can flip through. It shows different types of instruments, what different things look like. So kinks, buckles, bioburden, stuff like that. But those apparently have not made it. My demo unit has not made it. FedEx is basically shut down. So I will say those are coming, and if they don't make it to y'all, Alicia, let me know. I'll get y'all some more.
Perfect.
But yeah, overall, pretty straightforward, and so far, this scope looks perfect.
Good job, Linnell.
I'll just back out now just in case, and I'll let y'all find out.
I know I was
I think this goes perfectly. So I'm gonna go ahead and just remove this once again, avoiding 90-degree angles. Once again, similar to any other flexible endoscope, avoiding those 90-degree angles, taking extra care to protect the distal tip as well. Trying to think, I tried to be quick, especially for the night shifters. I think that's just about everything. While I have it in my hand, while we're still here, does anybody have questions? Anything that doesn't make sense? Anything you want me to explain more? Any insults? Anybody got them?
Thanks, Nate.
Thanks for attending. I really appreciate your time. Yes, sir. You too. Any questions? Maybe I can go back over for y'all.